Jake and Emily had been together for 6 years when they found the cabin. Hidden deep in Wisconsin woods, off the edge of a forgotten road, it sat by an unmapped lake. Locals didn't talk about it. "Stay clear of Stillwater Lake," the gas station owner muttered. "It remembers." Jake laughed it off. The cabin was perfect, rustic, silent, remote. But on their first night, Emily woke Jake. "Did you hear that?" "Hear what?" "Whispers, from the lake." Jake listened. Nothing. But Emily didn't sleep. The next day, while unpacking, they found a trap door in the floor, nailed shut. Old Jake forced it open. Empty, except for an oil lantern and a journal. The journal belonged to Callum Reed, dated 1956. It ended with the line, "The lake has teeth. Don't let it speak your name." That night, Emily didn't eat. She stared at the black water outside. Jake went to bed alone. At 3:23 a.m., he woke to splashing. Emily was walking into the lake, eyes closed. He ran, pulled her back. She whispered, "It said your name tonight." The next day, they tried to leave. But the road was gone, literally. Where the gravel path had been, now there were trees, thick, endless forest. Emily wouldn't speak. She just stood by the lake, lips moving silently. Jake stayed awake all night reading the journal. "Each whisper is a piece of you," Callum had written. "It learns you. Then it feeds." By the fourth night, Emily was gone. Jake found her footprints leading into the lake. No splash, no body, just silence. He screamed for hours. Then when he stopped, the lake whispered her voice. "Jake." He ran. Nowhere. Every direction. Trees. He returned to the cabin. It had changed. Rotting walls. Wet floorboards. The journal soaked and blank, and someone else's things in the bedroom. Children's clothes. That night, the lake whispered his name again in 1987. The Ashevale Hotel closed after a fire destroyed most of the West Wing. 4 people died. One of them, Eva Monroe, was never found. 36 years later, Oliver, a freelance documentary filmmaker, checked into the rebuilt hotel. He was covering America's haunted places. "Room 313 is off limits," the manager said. Oliver asked why. The man avoided eye contact. "Just old structural damage." But Oliver paid extra. And that night, he opened the sealed door to room 313. It was untouched. Furniture still covered in soot and dust. Burn marks on the walls. A broken mirror above the dresser. He set up his camera. Static footage. No lights. He whispered, "If anyone's here, speak." Nothing. At 3:13 a.m., the camera recorded something. A whisper, a name, Eva. Oliver checked the footage. The name repeated in a distorted voice every 13 seconds. Suddenly, the mirror cracked on its own. The door slammed shut. He couldn't get out. In the footage, the burned figure of a woman stood behind him, just for a frame. Then gone. He tore down the curtains. Outside the window, only brick wall. No escape, no signal. The temperature dropped. Frost spread across the floor. The air smelled like charred flesh. He heard crying from the closet. He opened it, empty. Then he looked in the mirror again. He saw Eva, face melted, staring, her hand pressed against the glass. His reflection didn't move. He turned around. Nothing. Turned back. His reflection was gone. Just Eva. She mouthed something. "Burn with me." Oliver screamed. His camera cut out. When hotel staff opened the room next day, it was empty. No signs of entry, no gear. Just soot on the floor and a single handprint burned into the mirror. And every 3:13 a.m. since, that room smells like smoke. And someone whispers, "Oliver." And his mother's, his childhood address, his old dog's name. It knew him now. He wrote his own final entry. "If you find this, burn it. Burn the cabin. The lake lies. It wears love like bait." But the journal vanished. Now it waits again. Silent. Still water. And it remembers. Lake Merrow was the kind of place people dreamed of in winter. Warm docks, green woods, soft waves. Every summer, tourists came in droves, but the locals never swam in the middle. They knew better. Cassie was 17 when she took a job at Lake Merrow Lodge. She didn't believe the stories. About the girl who drowned in '68. About the divers who never surfaced. About the fishermen who came back talking backward. Old lake legends, she laughed. She shouldn't have laughed. On her fourth night, she woke to wet footprints on the cabin floor, leading from the dock to her bed. No one else heard the door open. No one else heard the dripping sobs outside. Cassie brushed it off. But then the dreams started. Dreams of being underwater, looking up, unable to swim, while pale hands pulled her deeper. On the seventh day, her friend Jonah dared her to swim across the lake. Locals say it's cursed, but that's just crap, right? She jumped in. Halfway across, the water grew colder, thicker, like swimming through syrup. Something brushed her foot. Then her ankle was grabbed. She screamed, thrashed, and surfaced alone, gasping. Back on the dock, Jonah looked pale. You were under for 2 minutes. Cassie didn't speak for hours. That night, she dug into the lodge archives, found an old photo of a camp girl named Lila. Drowned, 1968. Last seen wearing a white dress and red ribbon. Cassie had dreamed that face. She tried to leave the next morning, but her car wouldn't start. Her phone showed no signal. The roads twisted, looped back. Lake Merrow didn't let go. On the 10th night, she woke choking on water, not in her bed but at the dock, soaked. She screamed and ran to the office. The security cameras showed something terrifying. Her walking to the dock in her sleep, hand in hand with nothing. But her reflection in the lake had another face. When Marissa found the listing online, the price was too good to be true. A 2-story farmhouse on the edge of a sleepy North Dakota town. White picket fence. Red shutters. A big oak tree. Needs a little fixing, the ad read. She was fleeing a breakup. Needed quiet. Space. The house felt perfect. But the first night, the air smelled wrong, like damp soil and rust. She ignored it. Until 3:11 a.m. when she heard footsteps upstairs. She hadn't unpacked. The house was empty. She climbed the creaky stairs and found nothing. But there were muddy footprints on the hardwood, small like a child's. She didn't sleep. The next day, she asked the neighbor. Used to be the Doyle place, the old woman said. Wife died, husband disappeared, no one stays long. Marissa brushed it off. Old people liked stories. But that night, 3:11 a.m. again, she woke to the smell of smoke and a faint crackling. She ran to the kitchen. The stove was off. Nothing burning, yet the walls were warm. That morning, the red shutters were gone. Just gone. Not removed. No screw marks. No hinges. Vanished. The next night, she locked her bedroom. 11 a.m. came. She woke to knocking. Slow, deliberate. From inside the closet, she opened it. Nothing. But on the inside wall, scratched deep. You moved in. Now I move in. Marissa left that day. Booked a motel 2 towns over. But at 3:11 a.m., the smell came back. Damp earth, smoke, and faint childlike laughter. In the motel bathroom mirror, words were fogged on the glass. You brought it with you. The next day, she drove 200 miles to a friend's apartment in Minneapolis. At night, 3:11 a.m., the power went out. When it came back, every faucet ran black water. The fridge was full of wet oak leaves. Her friend's cat lay dead, drowned. She tried calling priests, mediums, paranormal forums. One replied, "It's a roving anchor, a spirit that attaches not to place, but to memory. Wherever you go, it builds itself again." And it did. Day by day, wherever she moved, pieces of the original house appeared. The red shutters, the oak tree, the creaky stairs. Until finally one morning she woke up and her bedroom door was no longer her own. It was the farmhouse's warped wood. The house had followed her completely. she posted one last message online. Don't run, it wants you to. Every move feeds it, stay, burn it, or it becomes your forever. Then she disappeared. Now the house is listed again. Beautiful, quiet, cheap. Just needs a little fixing. At night, she tried to burn Lila's photo. It wouldn't catch. Even gasoline couldn't light it. So she dove to the lake bottom. Divers found her camera days later, full of distorted footage. Her final log said, "She's not drowning, she's waiting, and now she's not alone." They never found Cassie's body. But sometimes, late at night, wet footprints appear in empty cabins, always ending beside the bed. And from the middle of Lake Merrow, bubbles rise. The house behind the train tracks was always empty, always cold, even in summer. Kids in the town of Glover's Edge knew to stay away from it, not because of what was inside, but because of what never came out. Nobody lived there for more than a week. Nobody survived longer than that. So when aspiring filmmaker Andy chose it as the location for his horror short, his friends thought it was perfect, authentic, cursed, creepy, but not real. They brought cameras, lights, sound gear, and doubts. Day one of filming started smooth. The house had great atmosphere, as Andy called it. Cracked wallpaper, dust hanging in beams of light, a broken piano that still played a single out-of-tune note. But the house didn't like cameras. On playback, the footage showed someone else in the frame. A tall man in black standing in doorways, just watching. The crew swore nobody was there. They laughed it off. Old house echoes. Day two, the sound guy vanished. They found his boom mic in the cellar, snapped in two. His backpack was there, still full. But he was gone. They searched for hours. No phone signal. Just silence. The kind that presses on your ears. Day three, the lead actress Miranda quit. She wouldn't explain why. Just cried and whispered, "It touched my neck." Andy tried to keep everyone calm. "We're almost done. Just 2 more scenes." But then the doors began closing on their own. The windows wouldn't open. And the house groaned at night, like it was breathing. Andy set up a motion sensor camera outside his room on night 4. At 3:12 a.m., it recorded someone crawling along the ceiling, head twisted backwards, smiling. By morning, Andy was gone too. The rest fled on foot, leaving gear behind. Police found no bodies. Just equipment, some bloody handprints, and a torn script. The last page simply read, "He watches, he waits. When the last line is written, the story is his." Now, filmmakers still come to Glover's Edge, drawn by the legend, but none ever leave with footage. Only stories. And the house? It always stays quiet, until someone dares to say, "Action."